Lego. Alright, g'day guys, we are live. Welcome once again to the Tripod. This week we will be recapping round 11 in the NRL. Once again, a really good week from our perspective for our tipping. 23 wins and 11 losses, so a great record there on the singles. If you guys won big this weekend, because obviously the first 3 games of the round we actually swept. Did not lose a bet on those, and then the next one we even went 4-1. So if you lads did win some money this weekend, we always say all our tips are free. We don't ask for much, but if you did win some money over the past weekend, over the past year, over the past 4 years that you've been following us, we would really appreciate it if you could drop us a review either on our podcast or on our app, and that's fairly easy to find. You just Google how to leave a review, and that would really help us. Jacob, how are you, buddy?
Yeah, good. Thanks, man. It was a good weekend. Yeah, I mean, if people following us and appreciate what we do, they're probably already in our group. And in our group, one of the announcement posts is a link where you can drop us a review. So we're asking, as you mentioned, we swept, 3 games in a row? And that was after sweeping the final game of round 10. And today we swept one of the games as well in the Storm, which we'll get to. We'll get to all 8 games of round 11. As you said, we won 67% of our bets. Now, in terms of Origin, obviously the squads, are being
Crazy
leaked
weekend.
out just about. And they're going to be official, I guess, tomorrow. Sometimes the time frames change a little bit, and that's all of us can think about. But we could spend so long talking about Origin. We already did. So for our thoughts on Origin, if you're interested in our insights and our, the angles that we take looking at rugby league from the perspective of people that have punted on it for many years and watch every game and absolutely love it, we did a full breakdown of basically what we thought the strongest sides would be and, spoke about a lot of the contentious points. And that video is on this feed, was Friday night, and I think the podcast is available as well, audio, and it's on YouTube and stuff. So if you're interested in that, that's something you can check out later. We won't speak too much about that because we've just got to talk about the regular season NRL, which luckily enough, we made a good amount of money. It must have been over $1,000 on best bets this weekend alone if 100%. You were putting 100 per best bet.
Yes, and like you said, crazy weekend in the NRL, obviously, with a lot of especially Blues players getting injured. Even crazier weekend in the pod group. Things are going mad in there. Benny Thomas, we'll have to thank him. I don't know if we thank him or hate him for this, but obviously he started the shoey trend, and that sort of got upgraded to double shoeys. We had a triple shoey done in the group live video yesterday, and then today.
Do you want to spoil it, or you just want to say it's one of the more unique and disgusting type of shoeys I've ever seen, and the video's in our group. We can't just let every bloke who does a shoey who wants attention post a video in our group, but there's some unique shoeys. So it's a trend that's, not that we started shoeys, but everyone's bloody doing them for different stakes on punting, related wages in our group. And it's kind of funny, but it's actually getting a little bit out of control, and people are nominating us when I didn't agree to anything like that. And I'll do one when we hit a big multi. We got close to 100 to 1 this weekend, but we were a couple legs short. But shall we start with the footy that just ended? Because I've got to say, mate, you can talk about the game, and then I'll admit that I'm actually feeling shit and stunned from the footy today.
Oh, yeah. So first up, we had what we just watched was the Sharks beating the Dragons 22-9. We had 3 best bets on the game. Really should have won all 3 of them. Only go 2-1, and I'm assuming that's what you're pissed off about. As you can see on the board there, we've got Sharks plus half a point in the first half. They fucking have a break on the left-hand side, 2-on-1, and Fecky somehow, I've never even seen this before in my life, a winger doesn't know where the fuck he is, and he's standing out pretty much when he catches the ball. So that's like 2 minutes to go till half time, I think. And it's 8-all at this point. And then Sharks make a break. Cherry fucking has it like pinned to his back, 1-on-1 strip on the breakaway. And then, of course, Ben Hunt, who I've been talking shit on all year, breaks our hearts with a field goal at just before the siren. And of course, the Sharks go on to absolutely dominate. And just on the game, the Sharks very, very solid. I thought that they dominated that second half especially. And the Dragons just have no confidence at the moment. They really do look like a side that lost 4 in a row and has now lost 5 in a row. There's just no confidence there. They're completely in the game at half time, and they just let go of the rope second half, and Sharks were much better.
Yeah, if you look at why we backed the Sharks today, on paper, 2 teams that should have been pretty evenly matched, and the Dragons were at home, and you could argue Dragons more desperate, but there is a massive confidence lacking there, and they're just not, yeah, they're really struggling, and they are missing those key players, especially since Norman got injured as well. And, you know, we've said before that Widdop is out there, and they've dropped a couple of blokes this week. It didn't work. Whereas another reason we took the Sharkies was getting Moylan back in, and his class was obvious. You know, he's not 100% up to match speed, but his touches were classy. I think he had 2 or 3 assists. I mean, I guess you can't count the one where he executes a simple 2-on-1 and passes to Fecky, because Fecky, I guess, blacked out and caught the ball and went to put it down and went, oh shit, I'm not in the field. And you need to be on the rugby league field to score a try in a game. And yeah, I am a bit salty about that. Like, that was the only bet we lost today. We gave out, 7 best bets across 2 games. We went 6-1. I should be happy. But, and, you know, as a punter, you have to be able to cop losing, and you have to deal with losing well, or else you're going to probably not be a successful punter if you can't deal with your losses. But when you just get a tip wrong or a game doesn't go your way, I can shrug that off. And we've had our fair share of them, and even a couple this round. But for that, a moment like that, it's kind of smart for Hunt to kick a field goal with a few seconds left in the half. But it's just the fact that the Sharks had the ball and made a break with a minute to go, and they're not losing the game, and somehow they are losing the game when they're going at the break. Like, we'll never get a play like that go our way in a million years. And a similar thing happened in the Warriors-Broncos, but probably all over the shop. But let's just say, hey, 2-1 on that game, ended a good round.
Yeah, decent end to a very, very good round. Let's rewind to Thursday. We had the Panthers beating the Eels 16 points to 10. Let me just start off with saying, before I get into this game, I know we've copped a lot of shit, especially we copped a lot of shit round 8 when we had our worst round of the season. But since then, we've been absolutely crushing it. And I would challenge anyone out there to tell me an NRL tipping page that's free that tipped 4 underdogs in a row to start the round that was 6 points or more underdogs and all won outright. That is very, very solid. Swept the first game of the round. We had 5 plays on it. We won all 5. Let me just say for the Eels, like we said in the Origin pod, Fergo really struggled at centre. He really struggled. He dropped a bunch of balls there, and they had multiple chances, and he just did not look at home there. And obviously we know now that he is a much better winger than he is a centre. But no Maloney. Everyone thought the Panthers had no chance, but Cleary stepped up, and I think he played his best game of the year. I know a lot of comments in the group, because people are kind of used to the Panthers just being absolute shit shows this season. And as I was reading some of the comments flowing through during the game, I know the game was a bit sloppy, and they were kind of saying Panthers were terrible. I thought Panthers played pretty well, and I thought they were the better team for pretty much most of the game, and I think they did deserve the win in the end.
Absolutely deserved win. Really good defense. It was an error fest, and that's one of those. It's a classic game where, look, it wasn't pretty. And if you're a neutral and you had no money on it, then it was an eyesore. But with us having money, not just on the Panthers and plus 6.5 and to score more than 14 points, we had them straight up to win at $3. So I was never bored in this game because it was pretty much within a try for the duration. And they had some gutsy defense on their line. But you're right, like, I can't understand why the Eels moved Fergo when he's been their best player and he's been the best winger in the comp. And if you're telling me they moved him to right centre to showcase because he knows that spot was, vacant for the Blues, it was on his mind for sure, because he did muck up multiple times in attack for the Eels. And that's 2 games they've left on the table, going back to how disappointing they were with the second half lead against the Cowboys, and then to put up that kind of effort. But we spoke about Penrith, and you're talking about comments in our forum, and there was a comment someone said, I'd rather lose money than bet on the Panthers. And that's very funny, but honestly, as ridiculous as that statement is, honestly, there's people that just will refuse to bet on a side, and ultimately, the sides that are the hardest to bet on, obviously, sometimes hold the most value, and that was the case. It just felt a bit too much value in the head-to-head price and the line, because no rugby league team in the NRL is just going to lay down and die for 26 rounds. We knew they'd get it together, and look, their problems are not all solved, but they finally put in an 80-minute effort. We won 5 out of 5 best bets on the game. Correct,
we did indeed, and we rolled that over to Friday early game. Titans beating Manly 36-18. We had 4 plays on that one. Swept that game as well. Really, really gutsy performance by the Titans, I thought. I mean, to go down 12-0 pretty early in the game, and then to come back and win by 18. I think it really showed some heart, and I think it showed that this Titans team can play some fucking great footy, and that's what we kind of expected from them at the start of the season, and they've just been ravaged by injuries and inconsistency, but this kind of showed that they, when they are on their game, they are a scary team to play. And I guess from a Manly perspective, at 12-0 up, this is a disappointing loss, but they never should have been, over 6-point favourites, this Manly side, I don't think. And obviously that shows with the final score there. But Dale Copley with a hat-trick, great performance there. And Manly, like we said in previous pods, when they get their troops back, when they get Cherry back, when they get Turbo back, they will be a scary team. But until then, they're just not as great as everyone's sort of cracked them up to be. I know they've been having good results, but let's not forget that their roster is, it's a below average roster at the moment.
Yeah, we said coming into the season that they've got foundations there. And, X Factor was going to be how Des would go as a coach. And we've sung his praises enough times in the recaps. And we've said we've underestimated him. But their limitation was their depth. And then they have had some injuries to key players. And we've been so impressed that they've gutted out some big performances. And it's cost us money. But we said that they were overperforming and overachieving. And for people who were questioning how low they were in our power ratings, we didn't feel that was sustainable with the kind of troops they have on deck. And there was no way they should have been more than a 6-point favourite. And you just can't keep that up with that level of players that you have out there. But when Cherry Evans does get back into this team and Tommy Turbo, who, is a massive game changer, that's a side that still, has very promising second half of the season ahead of them. For the Titans, it was a really good performance, and they were down 12-0, and we're thinking, here we go again. But there's enough quality there, and there's actually more quality in the key positions. And Roberts and Ash Taylor and AJ Brimson had, some of their best games of the season. But I can't be too impressed because it was against Manly without a couple of their best players, and because no one expected the Titans to win on Friday night. It's actually a little bit easier to win sometimes when no one gives you much of a chance.
Sure.
And what we want to see from the Titans is consistency and then bringing it and actually winning games where they're supposed to win, which they didn't do when they led 16-0 against the Dogs.
True, that's grim.
But moving forward, that's going to be the key test.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on to the Friday night game, in what was probably one of the most surprising results of the round. I'd say probably the most surprising result of the round for most people, and one of the reasons why, most of your average punters were going into the round probably 0-3, 0-4 in their footy tips. But the Knights beating the Roosters 38-12. Absolute domination for all 80 minutes. We had 4 plays on the game. We won all 4. And I'll give props to you, Jacob, because initially I looked at this game and I didn't really have a play. You talked me around into the Knights, and that was great. Obviously, we swept that game. I had to talk you into the Cowboys. We did great on that game. So, sometimes it is 2 heads are better than one sometimes when it comes to punting. But I really did think that was a domination from start to finish. Mitchell Pearce looked absolutely awesome. I think it was definitely by far the best game he's played all season. And I know that people try and make up narratives afterwards, but we kind of mentioned this, that, it could be a bit of a letdown spot for the Roosters. They'd played, the last 2 weeks, they'd played the Raiders, tough game. They played the Broncos, tough game. And then they had to go and play the Knights. Not only that, but it was, their 3rd straight road game as well, so maybe a little bit of fatigue creeping up there after 2 tough games on the road, then having to go on the road again. It's easy to say now, obviously, but we were on the night, so these are all factors that we did take into consideration, but they did look a little bit fatigued and a little bit disinterested, I thought.
Yeah, so did we say we won 4 out of 4 on the Titans game, 5 out of 5 on the Panthers game? We had 4 out of 4 on the Knights, the last game of round 10 on the Sunday.
Yep.
And this Knights team, we have been on them heavy the last 5 straight weeks. So we love this Knights team, and they're like a little different to a lot of the sides in the comp where they don't have any injuries to key players right now, and they're rolling and they're getting better every week, and they're putting in, and they've found that consistency where it's not, we've just got to get up here because we're at home and we've lost a few in a row. They're bringing that motivation every week, and it wasn't going to be hard to find motivation to play the defending champs. And I want to, get back to this point as well, that another criticism we've had is stop going against the Roosters. The Roosters are unbeatable. But you've seen that the NRL is such a great competition that no one's unbeatable. And, we can't say that that things went the Roosters' way. It was very clear very early they were in for it when Luke Keary gets basically knocked out cold, and pops the ball up, and it's a Knights try, and you blinked and it was 14-0, and the Roosters are without Keary, and that was after they rested Cronk as well. It was going to be very tough, and the funny thing is, if you watch the game, Teddy was still one of the best players on the field for them, which is a little bit ominous moving into Origin. But a guy who has not been dominating games the way he was the first half of the season, Latrell Mitchell. In fact, ever since he tweaked his groin, Magic Round, I think scoring a try against the Raiders, he did come back on the field, but just to make up the numbers. Then he didn't really threaten against Brisbane, and he didn't threaten against the Knights. So I don't know if there's something more to that, but we mentioned that he hasn't looked 100%. So these are all these key playmakers for the Roosters who aren't there. Add that to Jake Friend. It adds up. You've got to look beyond just the name of the team and say, oh, Roosters, they'll win that, because the fact of the matter is we knew the Knights were a red hot shot, and we were getting plus 6.5 and +4 in the halves.
So we didn't even end up taking +6.5, which is a bit annoying. But anyway. Oh yeah,
at that point, that was before we knew Cooper Cronk was out as well. And you don't want to blindly bet against or on any side, but it was a great spot for the Knights, and I think we had another 4 best bets and ran the table there as well.
And I'll just piggyback off one of the points you made, where a lot of people, like you said, were saying like after the Roosters had covered I think 7 games in a row. They're like, you can't keep betting on the fucking Roosters. And same kind of thing with like Broncos and like Panthers. And people are like, surely you're going to stop betting on the Broncos and the Panthers. Well, I guess, look what happened this week and last week. And what I will just say is that that's a common thought that your average punter goes through. So you're not the only person that's saying, oh fuck, Broncos are so shit. They've been shit for a while. I've lost money on them week after week. I'm going to stop punting on them. That's what a lot of people think. And then you have the effect where, people that have been winning money on a certain team week in and week out are more inclined to bet on that team the following week. And therefore, your lines are a little bit skewed. And it's the exact opposite. If, a team's fallen out of favour with the public, no one's betting on them, then their odds are going to be inflated because it's, no one's betting on them. So, it's kind of counterintuitive.
Yeah, markets, I think, have gotten sharper over the years. But I tell you, 5 or 10 years ago, if you just automatically just waded through the season and bet big every time a team that got thumped last week played a team that had a big win last week, you'd have a line that could be inflated by 6 points. It was just an auto play. It's gotten, the marketplace has got more knowledgeable, and the bookies are a little bit more sensitive, and they're not more knowledgeable too. And even people are betting on more underdogs and stuff these days. It gets harder. But the other thing about the Roosters is, they lost round 1, and then they not only won 7 in a row, but they covered 7 straight games. But even within that, they showed weaknesses. Like if you watched closely on Anzac Day, the Dragons had them absolutely sweating on the ropes, and they got very lucky in a way to win that game down in Melbourne. And so, it was wrong for people to think that they were invincible, and now that's being shown.
Indeed, and another one that was pretty surprising to most people, not for us though. The Cowboys beat the Raiders 22-16. We had 5 plays on the game, and we went 4-1. I guess a little bit surprising to us. I mean, we liked the Cowboys. The line was inflated. We had good price. The line was getting up towards 7.5. We probably still thought that the Raiders were going to win, but very, very gutsy 80-minute performance from the Cowboys. I think it's one of the better games that I've seen Michael Morgan play this year, or maybe even his best game. And just from the forwards, and we kind of said this in the preview pod, we said that if the Cowboys are going to match them, they have to win the forward battle. Because they are at a huge disadvantage with the back line, and probably even you could argue halves based on form, I guess. But look at the Cowboys roster: 6 players with over 100 meters. Taumalolo up over 250 meters. Absolutely great performance by the Cows. What I will say is, where the fuck was this Taumalolo when we were on the Cows a few weeks ago? The one game where you shit the bed. But yeah, nothing to panic about the Raiders. They're still a very, very solid team. They'll bounce back.
Yeah, the only way I reckon this Cowboys team wins, and I haven't hid the fact I don't like them, so I thank you for twisting my arm to bet on the Cowboys, because I didn't want to be on them in this game. But I guess as a bettor, you've got to kind of know where your blind spot is, and I know almost that I've got a bias against the Cowboys just from how disappointing they've been through a number of rounds when we did back them. So then this week, if you're saying I'm leaning Cowboys and I wasn't, I'm thinking, well, maybe that's just because my brain is like blocking my ability to bet on the Cowboys. But if people are wondering, when we disagree, if we both disagree strongly and we both love opposite sides, we're not going to put a best bet. But if one of us feels a lot more strongly than the other that can make a better case, then we can talk ourselves into a best bet if we, can come to an agreement it's worthwhile. And yeah, still, funny things about this Cowboys side. when I say they win ugly, they don't blow you off the park, but they don't make it easy for you, and they don't they don't lose the game. They make you win it. They defend pretty stoutly, and it's just weird things like they're up 8, they take the 2 to go up 10. Just because they're thinking, let's shorten the game, let's get a bit more of a breather, let's just accumulate points because we know our attack is very limited. I feel like most teams...
Even though I think that's a good idea. Even though I think when you're up 8, you should probably take the 2.
You do. I disagree with that because I feel like you're still going to lose to 2 tries, and I feel like you can win the game if you score. And I don't know, and I feel like, especially once there's fatigue in the second half of the game, I feel like a good side goes for the knockout blow there. But hey, you've got to give credit to them that they play that tough style, and they had a lot of their forwards who either are hoping to get called out for Origin or, had a shout at it. So they all did step up and come together and have a big game. It'll be interesting to see who actually does get selected. Mail we're hearing is not many Cowboys are going to be playing in the Origin series, and maybe their form earlier in the season has let them down a bit. But it was another great game for us. And talking about forward battle, let's not forget that Bateman was probably the Raiders' best player through the first, 6-7 weeks. He's out. So the Raiders, they're going to improve when they get him back too. That's only going to help. And it was a close game. It just didn't go their way.
Yes, indeed. And then moving on to Saturday's games, one of the games that we did get wrong was Broncos beating the Warriors. 8 points to 2. 4 plays on the game. We lost all 4. One of them
we pushed one.
Oh, sorry, we pushed
3.
one. And the one that we fucking pushed was the Warriors to win the first half. Absolutely diabolical. Not only did they miss a penalty to go up 4-2, which obviously could have helped in the end, or would have helped, I guess. But then
that would have been 4-0, I think.
Well,
they were up 2-0, and they...
Yeah, what did I say?
4-2.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Because of what happened after.
Yeah, and then fucking Broncos get a bullshit pen in the last 10 seconds, so we pushed that bet. Pretty entertaining game for only one try, I thought. Very good defense by both teams. I mean, Brisbane are known to have solid defense, but they really did step it up in this one. Good performance away from home from the Broncos. Let me just say this. Defense for like 80 minutes from both teams was excellent. And then the Warriors let in the softest fucking Milford try that I've ever seen, which is diabolical. But like we said, Broncos, sometimes all it takes is to get 1 win, 2 wins on the board, and now they've got 3 on the trot. You can tell that they play better with confidence, they play better off a win, and they are playing that way, and I think they believe now, and that they might start playing like the team that everyone thought they were going to play like at the start of the season. But all in all, a fairly entertaining game. I thought it could have gone either way. I mean, we could have probably swept that game just as easily, but just a few bounces of the ball went wrong, and one fucking easy try that they let in at the end.
Yeah, it was a bloody intense game, and you have to be impressed by the Broncos. Now, reasons for taking the Warriors, ultimately when we looked at the game, we like both sides. People know we like the Broncos this year, and maybe you're starting to see some of the reasons that we did like the Broncos. How many have they won now? 4 of the last 5, and impressive win. But we took the Warriors, and the reasons were we thought these teams were pretty evenly matched, and there's a home advantage there at Mount Smart. And, the Broncos are young forwards. You got like an 18-year-old in the halves. Like, they had not won a game away from Suncorp this season. It was just enough for us to believe in a close game that would put the edge towards the Warriors. And it was a bloody close game. And as you say, it could have gone either way in the sense that the Warriors actually had more of the ball, more of the territory, just could not quite crack the Broncos. And I feel like if they had broken through and you say they're up 2-0, they elect to take another 2. I don't like that. I'd rather go for a try and get that lead, above, to 8 and extend beyond there. But they tried to make it 4 and missed from in front. That wasn't even half of it. They made a break. It was very similar to today. The Warriors made a break. They're up 2-0 in the half. We need them to win the half. They go through. RCS, who's as good as anyone on the planet, throws an intercept in their break. The Broncos charge back down the other field, spread it 40 metres out, get a penalty a second before half time, kick a 45-metre penalty goal to tie the half. And we backed the Warriors in a 2-way market, so nobody won the half. So we got money back, but that feels as good as a loss.
Oh, fuck.
So you go in at 2-2, and as you say, back and forth game in the second half, we had the Warriors to be the first team to 10. Funnily enough, nobody got to 10, but again, if they score 1, maybe they score again. And we had the Warriors to win the game, and I think we had the Warriors to win the second half, whatever. So it's 3 bets that are all very intertwined and tied together. And it's back and forth, and the Broncos got a massive penalty on 5th tackle, repeat set, and then on the 5th again, they threw it to Milford. I'm thinking, he's going to run there. But when you are that gassed after a pretty intense battle,
True.
Hey, you've got to give some credit. And again, when people were saying that the halves are terrible at the Broncos, and I've just always maintained Milford is a good player, and he's been freed up and a bit unlocked since they've changed the halves and obviously brought Dearden in. And you have to give some credit to a guy like that for scoring the one and only try in the game. It hurt us. That was our first losing game of the round and lost all 3 of those tips that were in play in the second half.
Yes, unfortunately we continued that on to the Tigers game. The Rabbits beating the Tigers 32-16. 6 plays. Somehow we had 6 plays on this, even though somehow it wasn't our favourite games of the round. But anyway, sometimes that's just the way it ends up when we find lines that we like, etc. But the Rabbits won by 16 points. And I guess the big news coming out of this one was the Reynolds injury. But I guess reports now are that it's not as bad as initially thought. I think New South Wales squad announcements are happening as we speak, Jacob. So I wonder if he's going to be in the team or not. I've heard varying stories of leaked teams. One with Cleary, one with Reynolds. So we'll see what happens there. But the difference here, Souths fucking score either side of halftime, which is absolutely grim. You concede right before halftime, and then you concede right after halftime, and then you concede the most ridiculous last try that I've ever seen in my life. And that was the difference, really, with, even Tigers covering the fucking second half. That would have covered. Also, Jennings fucking drops the ball over the line pretty much, in the last few minutes. That would have covered the second half as well. So, all in all, pretty unlucky to lose like that. I know it looks bad going 0-6, but, if a few different things bounce our way, the Rabbits not scoring that ridiculous try at the end, and they're going under 5 tries. Tigers are covering the second half, all this kind of stuff. So just a little bit unlucky, but yeah, the Rabbits just keep on rolling.
Yeah, we don't want to sit here and make excuses. We want to talk about what we learned. You have to respect just the continued performances by the Bunnies for sure. And even after they did lose Reynolds, they didn't miss too much of a beat in that game. But we should mention the Tigers had a late scratch of their captain and bye as well. And that, that's a big out to have your captain shuffled out, just an hour before kickoff. But yeah, if you look at that score and you say the Bunnies won by 16 and we had Tigers plus 8.5, but we had the Tigers plus 4.5 in the first half and they're down 14-12, as you say, late Rabbitohs try. So wipe that one away. Okay, but we had plus 4.5 in the second half. They were already down 8 at half time. So they just had to be within 12. We win that bet. And they're down 16 and, Jennings dropped the ball over the line. The Tigers dropped the ball over the line 3 times in the last 7 minutes. Even counting the Rabbitohs crazy late try there. You get a try, you get it within 12 points. You win that second half handicap. We had the Tigers plus 1.5 tries. They lost the game by 2 tries.
Yeah.
You talk about the swings there. Just put any one of those down. Thought wingers are meant to be, as good at finishing as they ever have been, but just when we need it, we can't seem to get a nice late try. And if the Tigers take any one of those late chances, which isn't going to affect who wins, but, and sometimes that means you get in a little bit easier. It seems like if you're trying to defend a lead and we've got best bets on it, the teams don't hold out. But you get one of those tries and it's 2-4 and it's a lot better than 0-6. And, it's a little bit
100%.
Frustrating because there's probably people out there who charge people for tips and run paid services. And what they'll do is look at our 3,500 best bets we've given out and they'll screenshot the worst day they can find.
True.
And then they'll post it on their Facebook page and say, you get what you pay for with free tips. So we don't like to lose a lot of tips in a row because people will put a spotlight on that.
I don't know why they got it in for us anyway, but after they posted that, I'm pretty sure we went on a 20-0 best bet run, so fuck them anyway.
Yeah, but they didn't post that on their page. I didn't see anything about that.
They did.
No, they didn't post the 20 win streak.
Oh, of course not. Of course not.
So I don't know, just be careful out there. Anyone who's really asking you to pay them money for their tips, but then they're going after free tipping services and they're lurking around in free groups, makes you wonder why they would need to do that when they're so high and mighty. But
very true.
It's a question mark.
Someone just posted the New South Wales team. I guess it's just been announced now, and we're going to be at State of Origin 1. We've just bought our tickets, and you're right, Jacob. That league team looks like pretty much the same, and you hate to see people get injured, but that team is not nearly as scary as Queenslander would have initially thought, and we've got half a chance now at Suncorp for game 1.
Well, as we said, we shared a lot of Origin thoughts. So if you're interested in our thoughts on that, there's a whole pod. But once both sides are announced, then we will go into our lab and, look at both sides. And we will definitely do an exclusive Origin 1 preview as well. So people can look forward to that. We haven't said exactly what night we'll release that. We need a lot of betting markets to be available for that and everything. And there's still probably uncertainty with your DCEs and your arrows going into game 1. But at some point, don't worry about it. There's going to be a full deep dive by the pod on Origin 1.
Oh, indeed. And we did really well last year. I think, actually we did. We usually do a lot more. There's usually a lot more promos and stuff like that. So we don't usually choose first try scorer and that kind of thing, in the regular NRL season. But when there's promos on for State of Origin, we certainly do. And we, picked all 3 first try scorers last year. So, make sure you tune into our State of Origin.
I think we went 18 and 11 on best bets across the Origin, which is...
Yes.
Yeah, you got to be happy.
We've been profitable every single year that we've done this, so that's 4 out of 4. The early game today was the Storm beating the Bulldogs 28-6. We were on the Storm. We had 4 best bets on the game, and we won all 4. I won't spend too much time on this, but the Storm were just clinical. They were too good. I didn't think that the Storm necessarily played a great game. I think they pretty much just did enough. But when you're a team like the Dogs, you need to throw more. When you're a big underdog, you're playing at home. You need to throw more at the Storm. They just fucking caved in. They did not throw enough at them, and it was just easy work for the Storm. And Addo Carr was an absolute beast, and I'm wondering now if the New South Wales selectors are ruining not picking him on the wing. But he had an absolutely...
Hang on, are you sure? I don't know what you're reading, but I haven't seen the Origin teams, but Addo Carr's got to be on one of the wings for New South Wales. Maybe you read the wrong thing.
Never mind. Read the wrong thing. He is in there. He should be in there.
Maybe one of the first picks. Look, the Storm, we know that they had that 4 or 5 week span where they didn't cover any games. I think there was a couple of losses there. They weren't playing well. And we were on them in a couple of those games. And we were kind of scratching our heads like, why aren't they playing up to the level that we know they can? And obviously in recent weeks, they've kind of shown a bit more what they're capable of. And these two sides, the Dogs and the Storm, have played twice this year. And it's the 18-16 win to the Storm at Amy Park that's the outlier. That was the one that was the head scratcher. And today was a bit more the norm. That the Storm are just a level above. And, I said something on Wednesday when we handicapped this game, and I think it's a good principle to follow as any punter. If you're going to take the points with an underdog, you really need to have some belief that they could win the game. You can't just take the points with an underdog, especially like the Dogs who are around +8, or you might have got +10. But, they can keep it within 10. Well, if you really think that, maybe bet Storm 1-12 and get, $3 odds or something. And if you watch the game today, you never felt like, the Dogs could get an upset here.
They never had a chance.
And, on the back of the fact that they already had given the Storm a scare, on the back of the fact that the Storm got 10 or 11 day, prep for this one because they played Thursday in round 10 and the Storm nearly lost last game, you knew they'd turn up. And they did, and hey, they're too hard to beat when they do that, especially by a Dog's side that's limited with the talent they've got. So we swept that 4-0 as well.
Swept that one 4-0, and that's going to do it. Jacob, your boy, Kotrick got picked, so I know you had him there at right wing, so I really think Fergo's game at centre fucked him. But like I said, it's completely different. You just have to worry about catching the ball and putting it down, and he's worried about passing it. So anyway, Kotrick's a good player. That will do it for week 11, guys. Another good week if you've been in the group and been in the app. You've gotten all the tips. You're making some money over the past 3 weeks, 3 winning weekends in a row. So, make sure you tune in. I guess we'll be doing Origin Pod. We'll figure out what time that'll be and we'll let you guys know. But, other than that, thanks for tuning in. If you've won some money, like I said, feel free to give us a review on the App Store or on our podcast. And make sure you've downloaded the app if you haven't already. That's the only place that we do post our tips, and certainly get in our group, Tripod Punters Tips Forum. That's more for the banter, and if you want to watch people do absolutely filthy shoeies, then that's the place for you. Anything you wanted to add, Saka, before we head out of here?
No, that's it. So Wednesday will just be a regular preview, but only 4 games to look forward to next round because, obviously a lot of key players out, and that's what makes these Origin rounds with some teams under strength very interesting. So that's going to be an interesting one for us to dive into, and that's Wednesday. And then following on from that, obviously all eyes on Wednesday week. And as I said, there'll be a preview for that too. So lots to look forward to. And thanks to everyone who has supported us and followed along the way. And as you said, if you can shoot us a review, we really do appreciate that. So I hope everyone has a good week, and let's look forward to all this exciting footy coming up.
Indeed. See you guys Wednesday.